Plaintiff Angela Conti says her 16-year-old son came to her asking who his father was. Angela insists the defendant is her son's father, but he texted her son claiming he wasn't. So Angela's suing for emotional distress and petitioned the court for a paternity test. Defendant Clarence Sullivan says when Angela got pregnant, she told him and another man that they were both the child's father. Clarence insists he offered years ago to take a DNA test, but no one ever took him up on it. He's countersuing for emotional distress.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
He has denied my son. My son walked into my hospital room and asked me a few weeks ago who was my father. And he also made me aware that Clarence Sullivan just had a new son. So I feel like because he had a new son, he felt like this isn't my son anyway. I've got a new son and it doesn't matter. He's already haven't done anything. All these promises and going to sent money here and wild goose chases here, he's already put us through a lot. So
well, let's get back to what just happened to put it in question.
He didn't even call him. He sent it through a text message.
Saying what?
That he's not his father. And when my son walked into my hospital
That's not
room,
exactly true.
I'll let you
it hurt my feelings after 16 years.
I met Angela in like 2000. I met her through a friend at a party, and you know, we had sex that night, you know, one night stand that led to several other occasions of sex. And out of that, she got pregnant. She had a man that was in jail at the time. I had a woman at home. We was wrong, just straight up wrong. And she said that I was the father. She was telling me that every time that I have a conversation with her, you the father of this child that I'm pregnant with. When I seen, in fact, that she was pregnant, you know, I wanted to know if that was my son or not, or if it was the dude that she was in a relationship with. Obviously, she had told him that she was pregnant by him because he thought it was his child, too.
How do you know?
Because I confronted him about it. When I seen him in the street, we from the same town. When I seen him in the street, I said, did you know that that baby that Angela said that she had was my son?
What town you all
in? We was in Topeka, Kansas.
Okay.
I said, well, I think we should man up about this situation and take a paternity test to determine if this is my child or yours, because if it's my son, I want to know. So I heard later that he went home and had an argument with her, and they supposedly had some type of physical confrontation about it. And I never seen him anymore after that. I talked to Angela several times after that, and she was still adamant that that was my child and making me believe that. She brought the baby to me. I met the baby. Shortly after that, I went to prison.
For how long?
I went to prison for, they gave me a 10-year sentence. I did 9 years. During that 9 years, I subsequently met her brother when I first got there. He was in prison too. So I met him, and he made me aware that that was his sister. So I told him about the situation. And since then, Angela been sending me pictures, telling me that was my son, making me believe that. Now, why would not consider?
Well, you're in prison for 9 years for. That's a long time. You got a 10-year sentence.
I was in prison for felon in possession of a firearm.
Drugs. Oh, firearm.
Yeah,
okay, that's a long term just to have a gun.
Well, you know, I had a little bit of history that.
All right.
Led
Just
to
wondering. You know, Trump reduced mandatory sentencing, and some other relaxing of criminal laws that will reduce the prison population that was built up under Clinton. But that came from his son-in-law, Jared Kushner. We are appreciative of you addressing one of the biggest issues in the African-American community, and that being the justice system. 9 years was too long for carrying a gun, but if you had repeated felonies, I don't know. I did 11 months for carrying a gun.
Well, that was my second felony.
Okay. All right, and so since that time, what has happened? You were gone for 9 years.
9 years. She was still writing me letters, telling me, sending me pictures of him, telling me that was my son. I believe that it's my son, and I took care of him. Even when I was in prison, when I had $100, he got 30 of it. I don't know what she talking about that I never took care of my kid. a kid that I believe was mine. I did everything that I could for him at the circumstances, Your Honor. When I got out of prison in 2012, the first summer I was out, he was with me. The second summer I was out, he was with me. The third summer I was out, he was with me. I treated him like my son.
Is this true, ma'am?
Some of it's true, not all of it. Clarence did make that
Let
effort.
me make that observation that I make from time to time, and that is guys in criminal justice system, or if they're in the street guys, there's a misnomer that they don't love their kids. They may not be able to provide for them, but they love their kids and they want to be with their children. So those watching understand that. And here's another example. While in prison, he wanted a relationship. Time he got out of prison, he had his son to come live with him summer after summer after summer, took responsibility. Hats off to you for what you say you've done, and she says that some of it is true. So thank God for some of what you've done. So we'll hear the rest. And thank God you were able to raise this man. Is this the young man with you?
Yes, it is.
Looks very productive, and I'm proud of you as a single mother. So let me know, however, what you disagree with based on what he has said.
He did have him for the first 2 summers. He made a lot of promises to him that he didn't keep.
Like what?
Being there for every other game, once a month coming down. Had my son
coming down from where?
Coming down from Kansas to Colorado. We live in Colorado.
How long of a drive is that?
It's 8 hours. Always telling him he's going to be there, showing up the games. He's going to do this and do that. I mean, he did try it at first, but then after a while, I believe he got someone in his life, and then he just didn't care anymore.
What made you think that, though?
Well, it's what he showed, you know. And then when my son went there to stay.
Hold on. I don't want you to blame his woman.
No, I'm not. I'm blaming him.
You are. Hold on, ma'am. Slow down. He got a new woman. And he stopped seeing his son as much?
That's correct.
And somehow you think that's the reason?
I believe it is because my son would tell me we don't go to the park anymore. He used to take him to the park, play football with him, basketball. I mean, he's taught him a lot. I can't say a lot of things.
And does your son also mention his woman?
He does.
What does he say?
He says, now, Mom, she is in the picture that we don't do anything at all. Can you come get me? Day after day, he wanted me to come get him. He doesn't
what does he say they do? He sits at the house and doesn't go anywhere?
He sits at the barber shop and works for his dad and the other people. At the end of the day, from working, his father would make him give him his money, which each barber would give him 10.
To do what with it?
It was to feed him and take care of him.
So let's get to how it came into question, the paternity.
Just a few weeks ago when I was in the hospital and hurt my feelings, my son came in there and said, well, who is my father? And I said, you know your father. He said, well, my dad sent me a text message and said, he said he doesn't.
Yeah, that was the only time it has ever been in question?
Yes.
Not for me. I've told Clarence.
Quiet. What do you mean, not for you?
I did tell another gentleman, my ex, which was very abusive. He's in jail. He's in jail for domestic violence.
Told him what?
I'm sorry?
You
I told
told
him
what?
that was his father, too. He's actually ultimately named after the
there
other
we
gentleman.
have it. You told 2 different men that it was their son.
Only because
and
I
then
got
to
beat
tell
up
your
every
son,
day.
call the police. Don't lie to the man about that.
I did, and that's why he was in jail.
I got you, ma'am. Let's move on.
Yeah.
You don't understand the consequences. It's affecting him today from now on. I promise you.
I did put him in jail. He was
We
in
know
jail
that.
at the time.
Ma'am,
He was in and out
your
of jail.
defense to this is that he was beating you.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's why you put your child in play. We can move on. And how did he cause you emotional distress?
From all the times that I send money, go pick it up here, I'm going to do this, I'll be there, I'm on my way. You know, my son has played football, baseball, basketball. I've been there every game in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, traveling with him. Running to one place where he says he's sent money. It's not there. I don't know how to be a father. I'm going to be the best father I know how to be. I've been his mother and his father. Okay? My kids are great. Okay? I've not always been right. And I'm not sitting here telling you any story. I've been totally honest with you. Yes, I was wrong for telling other gentlemen, but I feel like it was saving my life ultimately from getting beat all the time. But he just, all the fake promises, and then he's...
Go ahead. Let me hear from you.
What I was going to say is that she said that I was taking his money from him. When I brought him down to be with me, I'm a barber. I'm a barber. But at the time, I didn't have a barber shop when I first got out. I was working for somebody else. But I brought him in as a sweeper to help him learn responsibility, earn him some money for his pocket and things like that. I didn't take his money from him. I gave him his money. I let him use his money freely to do what he wanted to do.
And it would have been responsible even if you had him to save some
yeah.
or pay one of the bills.
Exactly.
The first little McDonald's
Exactly.
job I got, my mother made me pay the light bill.
Now, that's what I was getting to, that caused a little conflict between us.
How so?
The last summer that he came down, I opened my shop by then, and I told him, I said, look, you know, before when he was coming, we was always having fun. You know, I was bonding with him. I was spending time with him. We were spending a lot of money, going to fairs and things like that, playing a lot of games, spending a lot of money. The last summer that he came when I opened up the barbershop, she brought him with a dog that I had no place to take care of, couldn't take care of the dog. You know, I'm barely taking care of him at the time because I was on my knuckles opening up this shop. And I told him I need your help with what I do. But anyway, she brought him with the dog. Somehow I put the dog somewhere. It didn't keep. It got away. He was upset about the dog. Then he called me when he was at the store with his cousins and asked him if he could get a pair of shoes. I said, go ahead and get them. So we got the shoes. When he got back, he wanted me to reimburse him for the shoes. I said, no, it's time for you to learn some responsibility.
Let me stop you, because I'm convinced that you believe this is your son.
Yeah.
There's never been any question in your mind.
No, because at this point, I don't care whether he's my son biologically or not. He's my son, and he's going to be my son.
But he does nothing.
So we're going to check on the DNA test. Your counterclaim, how does she owe you for
she
emotional
owed me money
distress?
For what?
In case.
How so?
In case.
Yeah.
That the test say that he's not my son, and I done shelled out all my money and emotional
He hasn't
time.
shared out any, like you've probably gave maybe
Every month since I've
$1,000
been
since
out
you've
of
been
prison,
born.
Your Honor.
You're-
I've sent her
$1,000.
$200 a month.
No, you did not.
$200 a month.
Clarence, you said
And
maybe
she's
the first
lying
3
when she
months.
said
and I've
I
been
didn't.
honest.
It
The
might
first
have
3
been-
months,
it
Ma'am,
might-
you
that's
did.
enough. I believe him
It may-
beyond what you say, because
I've
you
been
told
very
the
honest.
biggest lie a person could possibly make
I
about
was
your
honest with
own
that, though.
child. So I'm
Right?
going to believe him, ma'am. He has more credibility than you do today. And so your counterclaim is that if she has misled you,
Yes.
you think she should be liable for deceiving you. Well, we're going to get the results, but as we get the results, you need to know that, ma'am, and you, relationship issues do not rise to the level of winning a money judgment. So we're going to look here and make a fresh start or continue we're going to continue with the strong relationship and bond that you and your son have been working on over the years. And young man, would you agree your daddy always tries to, at least, and you try to get along as father-son?
I mean, yeah. I mean,
I know you're going to say what mama told you, because I would say what mama tell me. I would say what my mama tell me.
no, I'm gonna be completely honest.
Come on, stand up.
Oh, yeah. Today, you know, I'm almost grown now. You know, DNA test, I would like to know who it is, but there is points on my mom's side I feel aren't true, or there's points on my dad's side I feel aren't true.
Sounds like you're a very mature young man to know that both parents have flaws, but you love them both the same, no doubt. Correct? Or not?
Correct.
All right. So you can continue loving your dad because he is the father. And
I feel good about the results. You know, it's always been a question, so it's good to find out.
Question for who?
For everybody considering you.
No.
and
I've
the
told
things
you
that you say.
the first. You've always said you've always.
But,
I've never changed my story.
But at the end of the day, I'm happy with the results, and I'm glad that I made the decision to accept the fact that he was my son a long time ago, because I was there.